you moved on. You transitioned after that from selling wine to becoming best-selling writers and international speakers. Why did you go that direction? What inspired that change?
Well, we learned so much from building the Barefoot wine brand, and we knew that these were all lessons that other business owners could really appreciate and would benefit from. And frankly, we didn't want other people to suffer as much as we had. Our staff came to us and they said that you have built a business that's unlike any other, and you really have to share it. So they're the ones that convinced us to write a book. And once we wrote the book, and it became a New York Times bestseller, we said, hey, now we've got to go out and talk to people about it. So that's how we became speakers. And we were speaking in the beginning just for schools that teach entrepreneurship. And we've spoken at over 60 schools here in the States and also internationally that teach entrepreneurship. So working with the students was very rewarding for us. And then we started speaking at other events and such and taking on clients. Some of the people in the audience would ask if we could consult with them personally. And that's how it all came about.
And from there, you've now gone, as we've been discussing throughout this podcast and show here, you've gone on to producing these theatrical style audiobooks.
Yes.
And I think you kind of laid out, some great points about why this is a better way to communicate business principles. I'm curious, what do you see for the future of that? Do you have other productions coming down the line, and any differences or changes in where you see this kind of thing going?
Well, basically, we feel that all businesses have a problem with their success. And it sounds a little contradictory to hear that, but when you think about it, when you're successful, that's when standardization starts to move in. That's when you have something to lose and the lawyers move in. That's where things slow down because they have to go through compliance. That's where you have divisions of labor. That's the engineering division, okay? That's really a problem that should go to the personnel or the human resources division. Or no, that's an accounting problem. And before you know it, you have divisions of labor and turf battles. And as we say, it's corporate constipation. Nothing moves, right? And why? It's because people are busy trying to secure their jobs and look good in terms of their supervisors. So that becomes more important than the goal or the mission of the company. And so how does a founder who's hopefully still alive and still active in his company prevent that kind of corporate malaise from happening with his own company? Well, one way is he can be there. He can be the leader. He can try to inspire people from the stage like Steve Jobs and those folks. But the bottom line is you can't be alive forever. You can't be in the company forever. Sooner or later, you're going to have to give up command. And what do you leave? What is your legacy? Do you leave them something more than just a plaque on the wall, or a gravestone? Yes, you do. You can leave them a story. You can leave them a story about your seminal events that took place in the life of the business, when it almost failed and then how it was saved, the biggest problem and how you got around it, the best employee and why they were the best. And what are these stories doing? They're telling people who are newly hired to your company 10 years, 20 years from now about these values, about the principles of the company that are based on its history. But because they're listening to a history with sound effects and music, it's entertaining. And because it's MP3 format, they can put their buds in and listen to it when they want to. If they're driving, changing their baby's diapers, or cooking dinner, or vacuuming their house, they can be listening to the story of their company.
Yes.
Now, when they hear that story, they'll identify with the proponents, and they will also identify with the company, which makes them be more likely to be engaged in problem solving and less likely to jump ship and turnover and engagement are the two biggest problems that businesses face, especially large corporations.